3, 2, 1. Calling all athletes, coaches, and sports entrepreneurs from Los Angeles, California, all the way to Miami, Florida, and everywhere in between. Welcome to the Sports Box Podcast. Talking about everything from college recruitment to building your sports empire. Now, here's your host, Coach Martin.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Coach Martin, and welcome to the Sports Box Podcast. I'm super excited about today's podcast. You know, typically we either going to be dealing with athletes or future business owners that want to, jump into the sports space. But today we're going to broaden the horizon. It's not going to just be for athletes. This is also for anybody who wants to go to college. So whether you're an athlete and you're thinking about going to college on a scholarship, or maybe you're an athlete and you just want to go to college, even as a walk-on, or if you're just a student and you want to go to college, you're going to guaranteed want to listen to this. This is going to be, I promise you, the most valuable piece of advice that you're going to get. You're not going to hear this from schools. You're not going to hear this from friends, but you're going to hear it from me. And I promise you, it's going to be valuable. So, as a coach, your job is to put people in position to win. Whether you're a sports coach, whether you're a business coach, any type of coach, you want to put everyone in position to win. And what happens a lot of times is students, right, we have this goal of just going to college. And we think that, hey, if we go to college, everything's going to be great. We're going to have a better life and blah, blah, blah. So we think all that. But the truth of the matter is when you look at the statistics, you look at the numbers, it doesn't really work that way. So from a statistical standpoint, right, 58%. Now, these are numbers that we get from the internet. And if it's on the internet, must be true, right? So anyway, it's about 58% of students that go to college to get a degree, they ended up working at a job outside of that degree. So if you took a $100,000 loan and you went to college for 4 years, and there's a 42% chance that you're going to get a job in that degree that costs you $100,000, right? Those aren't very good odds. They're not good at all. Right, but that's what happens because our goal is just to get to college, and it shouldn't be that way. Our goal should be like way past college, and college is just along the way. So when I get hired to speak in high schools, and I get hired all the time, all over the country, and I'm brought in to do, let's say as an example, a college recruiting workshop, I'm always going to work this piece in because you can't just have a goal. The end goal can't be just going to college. And let me give you a visual example. If anybody here is a golfer, and I am, and I got to play yesterday. If you go to drive, right, you're on tee box 1, and you're going to hit the ball. Let's say it's 384 yards, par 4, and you're aiming for the ball. That ball's not going to go very far down the fairway. It's just not going to. Let's say 150, 180. But if you're aiming like a foot past the ball and the ball is in the way, that ball's going so much further down the fairway. And that's how it is with life. If your goal is just to go to college and you don't have a realistic plan, and I'm going to give you the plan in just a second, right? You're not going to capitalize, and it's not going to benefit you in your life, and you're going to be in debt. And maybe you had a great college experience, but it's not going to help you. So I'm going to give you the actual secret to success. And if you're an athlete, if you're a student, if you're a parent, right? And maybe you don't have kids, but you have friends that have kids. You're going to want to share this because this is important. And this is something, like I said, I work in every speaking gig that I do in high schools. I'm going to work this in. So this is what I want you to do. Here's the plan. So when you're thinking of going to school, now you're thinking about going to college, and you don't know what you want to take, what you want to major in. And most people don't. I get it. You're probably 17, maybe 18. You're not going to have life figured out, and it's okay. Right. But what I want you to do is whatever major that you think you're going to take, I want you to write that down, and then I want you to Google it and see how much money that makes a year. Right. And ask yourself, are you okay with that? Because if the answer is no, right, or if you want a lifestyle that's way above that, that ain't going to work out for you. It's just not going to. Right. So I want you to Google it. And I'm going to give you an example. One of the things I always do is I always do an example with athletes, and I always say, hey, what's better, a 4-year or 2-year? And 100% of them all say a 4-year. And then I bring two people up, and one's representing a 4-year, one's representing a JC, and I give them each a job. And I ask them again, hey, which is better, going to 4-year or going to a junior college? And they all say going to the 4-year. And then I ask the 4-year guy, hey, what'd you major in? and he majored in horticulture. And how much do you make a year? Probably about 24 grand. So I said, are you okay with that? And he's like, no, that's way too low. Well, that's what you majored in. So then now I turn to the junior college guy and I say, hey, what's your name? Timmy. Great, Timmy. What did you major in? Air traffic controller. Timmy, what do you start at? $126,000 a year. So then I ask the question again, which one was better, the 4-year or the 2-year? And I get silence. It's crickets, because now everyone's thinking about it. So it's not so much where you go, it's what you take. Right. So when you're 18, 19, and 20 years old, you're probably not going to figure out your passion. Now, stay with me. This is the important piece. You're probably not going to figure out your passion. You may not figure out your passion till you're 30 or 35. But if you pick a job, if you pick a career that's going to pay you a great amount of money, when you're 30 or 35 and you find your passion, now you can fund that transition because you're making a lot of money. Right. Whereas if you end up, taking a degree that's only paying you, let's say, 35, 40 grand a year, and it's not really working out for you, and you become passionate about something when you're 35 years old, it's going to be very difficult for you to fund that transition. You're going to be stuck. And that's what happens to most people in life. So trust me when I tell you this. I promise you this is gold. Google what you want to major and see how much money those men and women make, and ask yourself, are you okay making that much money, right? And that there's a lot of factors involved, right? What type of lifestyle you want, right? Where do you want to live? How big of a house do you want to live in? Where at? Do you want to live on a house on a lake? Do you want to live on a house on a beach? Do you want to live on a house, on a golf course, right? What state do you want to live in, right? If you live in Afton, Wyoming, it's going to be a lot different than living in Newport Beach, California. So you got to make sure that the job's going to pay you enough to fund the lifestyle that you want. So have a plan, work the plan. Have a plan, work the plan. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to college and that's the end all. Because if you go that route, you're going to be a statistic. And remember what I said. 58% of the people that go to college, they take a job outside of their degree, which means you spend 100 grand and it didn't do you any good. I mean, you might as well went to Vegas and just dropped it on black or dropped it on red. Now, don't take that literal, but you get my point. So have a plan, work the plan. Before you pick a major, do me a favor, make sure that you Google it. See how much money that industry pays you and ask yourself if you're okay with that, right? And if you don't know what you want to do me a favor, just pick a career that's going to pay you a lot of money, because you can always transition out of that and fund your transition later. So trust me when I tell you this is gold. Parents, if you're hearing this, I know you have friends that probably have kids that are getting ready to go to college. Send them this podcast. I promise you they're going to come back in 10 years, 15 years, and they're going to thank you for it big time. So listen, we're super excited. You can follow us on social. If you have any questions, go to our website at www.sportsbox.com. And until next time, this is Coach Martin. I am out.
Thank you for being a part of the Sports Box Podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media and visit online at sportsboxpodcast.com.